Hey, welcome to March and welcome to March's budget video. Today we're going to have a quick look at what's happening in our family's budget for March 2020 and see what is going into our cash envelopes for this month as well. Now, if we haven't had the chance to hang out before, my name is Nikki and I love sharing tips and tricks with you guys that have helped us budget better, demolish our debt, skyrocket our savings, and still have heaps of frugal fun along the way. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in, I would love for you to join in the fun. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and to tick that little bell so you can be notified when my new videos come out. Let's jump into today's video and have a look at what our family is doing in our budget for March. We actually start off our budget by filling out what we call our monthly snapshot page. And this gives us a snapshot at the beginning of each month and looks at things like how much money we still have in our sinking funds, how much is in our savings accounts. We will track any bills that might be due that month and look at things like our emergency fund and our net position. And it really does give us a snapshot of exactly where our finances are at the end of each month or the beginning of each month. We do a monthly budget, we do a month ahead budget, so we only do this once a month, and it really gives us a good indication of the direction that our finances are moving in when we look at it over a couple of months or a year or even longer. We can actually look back on the last couple of years and see that our finances are moving in the right direction and the direction that we want them to go. So let's have a look at our figures for March. Most of our sinking funds and our savings accounts have increased because we haven't had to spend too much out of those in February. Our sinking funds and our savings accounts do fluctuate, they go up and down. What we like to do to even out our budgeting is we will work out how much we would spend on average in each of these sinking fund budgeting areas. We'll average that out over a year and then just take that average and put that into a separate account, and then we spend out of that account when we have expenses. So for example, for our car maintenance sinking fund, we've worked out how much it costs us to run and maintain our vehicles over the course of a year. Then we've divided that by 12. And each month we just put in the allocated amount that we need. And then anytime we need to pay car registration or buy new tires or get one of the cars serviced, we already have the money sitting aside in our car maintenance account, which is what we spend out of if we need to pay for anything to do with our cars. And we have a similar sort of one set up for our medical expenses, another one for clothing, and so on. So that's a really quick rundown on sinking funds. If you'd like to get started with sinking funds, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now with sinking funds, I do have a blog post on how to get started with sinking funds, what they are, how to set them up, how much money you might want to put aside, how you can calculate that. It's all over on my blog at nikkibeal.co, and I will link to that blog post in the description below so you can go and read and learn all about sinking funds so you can set them up for yourself if you want to. The other thing that we track on our snapshot page is our savings accounts. So we are debt free, we've paid off all of our debts, and we are now working towards savings goals and building wealth. So we are now tracking our savings goals, and as you can see, we have a few things on the go at the moment. Before we became debt free, instead of having savings goals on this side of the page, we actually listed out our debts, and we used Dave Ramsey's snowball method. We paid off the smallest balance first. And the reason why I say that to you guys is because if you would like to have a go at using a system like this, if you want to try out our format for budgeting and tracking our finances, you can actually grab a free copy of this printable from my blog. It's at nikkibeal.co/budget blueprint. I'll put that in the description as well, and you guys can go and grab a free copy of this. It's free to download. and for you guys to use. It doesn't have all of the pre-filled data in it. It is blank, but you have the choice of one of two versions of this. So you have the earlier version that we used when we had debts, and it'll have debts listed down this side, and you can list them in order of smallest to largest, or whatever method you're using to pay them off. Or if you are debt free and you're now starting to work towards your savings goals like we are, then there is the savings versions as well. Otherwise, it's all pretty much exactly the same. That's the only real difference between the two versions of the budget blueprint, is one has a section to list out your debts and one has a section to list out your savings. So we are on to savings. That's what we're working towards at the moment. The other thing that I like to track is bills. We don't really have a lot of bills due in March, which is awesome. I tend not to write down our monthly bills that come out each and every month, things like phone bills, because I have that all set up as an auto direct deposit. All right, the other big thing that I like to track on our monthly snapshot page is our net position. And basically I like to see that over the long haul, over a period of months or even years now, that we are moving in the direction that we want to move into, that we are increasing our net position, we're starting to get some money into our retirement funds, we're saving, and we're doing all of those sorts of things. So over a course of a couple of months, our sinking funds and savings accounts can fluctuate. They can go up and down as we use them, because that's what they're there for. But we want to see that overall our net position is increasing slowly but surely over time. So one of the things that we do track is our superannuation, which are basically just retirement funds. I do track it monthly, but I'm also not terribly upset if they go up and down, because that's part and parcel of investing. This month our net position overall went down. Our superannuation has gone down, just with everything that's happening in the stock market and all that sort of stuff at the moment, but I'm not stressed because I know overall we are moving up. So it's all good to track that sort of stuff, as long as you don't get too hung up on it, I suppose is what I'm saying. So I do track that, do track our superannuation. We make personal contributions, so I like to make sure that those funds have been received and processed and cleared. So I do check that every month, just like I check our sinking funds and our savings accounts, and keep an eye on basically our net position. The main thing about our monthly snapshot page that I think has been really helpful for us with our budgeting and moving forward has been this section in the middle where we focus on our goal setting. So I will go ahead and fill out all of this data each month before we sit down and have our budget meeting date night. But then when we do sit down and talk about the month ahead and what we want to do with our money, this main goal and the goal setting is a big part of what we talk about. We want to talk about what it is that we want to achieve, how we're going to achieve it, and how we're going to use the funds that we have at the moment to cover all of our expenses, but also work towards our goals. So this is really helpful. It is mainly savings goals that we work towards, and we'll have big savings goals like saving up $10,000 for a house deposit, and then we will break those things down into smaller monthly targets. What are the things that we want to work towards each month, so that we can make sure that we're working towards our big goals. This month is a little bit different. Our monthly goal this month is to enjoy our trip down the Great Ocean Road. So we have been saving, we've put some money aside so that we can go and have a little family trip. We're going to go and explore the Great Ocean Road for a couple of days and enjoy a little bit of camping and sightseeing and probably some four-wheel driving. But our goal this month is to enjoy that. So that's pretty much the monthly snapshot page. On the next page is where we will actually allocate all of the money that we have in our holding tank and work out exactly what we're going to do with the funds that we already have. So let's click over and have a quick look at this. So this is the breakdown of how we're going to spend our money. So one of the things I will point out, if you haven't watched one of our budgeting videos before, or you are new to following us, we are now in a position where we do a month ahead budget, which means that instead of allocating our budget paycheck to paycheck and working paycheck to paycheck, what we actually do, we let all of our income from 1 month stockpile in an account which we call our holding tank account. We let it build up in there for the entire month. And then on the first of the next month, we allocate all of that money, and then that's what we live off for the following month. So the income that you're seeing us allocate here in March's budget was actually all received during February. And then on the 1st of March, we allocated all of March's income will go into our holding tank account, and we will allocate all of that on the 1st of April. It did take us a little while to put ourselves in a position where we could do that. We built up to that slowly over a period of time. If that's something that you guys would like to hear about, if you'd like to hear how we put ourselves into a position where we're actually a month ahead with all of our finances, then let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to do a video on that for you guys at some point too, if that's something you guys are interested in. But let's have a look at what we're doing for March. So I have quite a few things in here that I have automated to make our budgeting life a little bit easier, or my budgeting life a little bit easier, because I'm usually the person who executes our budget. Anything that is marked with blue down the side is actually all automated in our banking. It just automatically happens on the 1st of each month, and it's awesome because I don't have to worry about it. Everything that's marked in green is things that we are going to put into our cash envelopes. So we do a split between cash envelopes and digital payments. And we prefer to do all of our set and forget expenses as direct deposits so that we don't have to worry about it, and use cash just for those categories that we tend to spend a lot out of. Or spend regularly out of, and then that way we can actually track our spending in those areas a little bit easier, because we're not always tapping and swiping our cards and then having to think about making sure that we're budgeting and allocating in our budget where that money came from. By using cash, we find it really easy to track things like groceries. Once we've allocated our grocery money, which for this month is going to be $700, once we've allocated that to our cash envelope, I know that I have $700 to spend for the month, and all I have to do is look in that envelope to see how much money I have left to spend. I don't have to worry about making sure that I've updated a spreadsheet or an app or anything like that. So a lot of these things you will see are pre-filled onto our budget sheet. I've pre-filled these for us because I know that we're going to continue to do the same thing month in, month out, and I didn't want to have to handwrite them every single month. So this just makes things a little bit easier for me because I know that they are definitely going to happen. And then I like to leave a little bit of room down the bottom where I can add a few different things, or a few month specific expenses, or those small savings goals that we are working towards. I can pop them in down at the bottom. So this month we really are focusing on our trip down the Great Ocean Road. So we have bumped up our family fun money quite a bit this month, just to make sure that we have more than enough cash for our little getaway. One of the big changes that's happened in March for us is we have increased our phone allocation. Both of our boys, teenage boys, have started working part-time, so we are upping their plans. That'll be $15 a month for them as well. So we are increasing our phone budget a little bit by $30, but it is still not nearly as much as what we were paying when we were with Vodafone and Optus, so I don't mind that too much. So $60 for 4 phone plans. Everything else is pretty much the same. We are going light on with our money date, our coffees, and our eating out allowances this month, because we have boosted our family fun money. So we've boosted our family fun money by cutting back on a few of those other areas that are flexible, like coffee money, eating out, all of those sorts of good things. Still working towards our savings goals that we have going on. We are putting money aside for our 10-year anniversary, which will be in September of this year. We are looking at maybe doing a trip to Tasmania, so we're saving up for that. We also have a few other smaller savings goals that we'll be wrapping up in the next couple of months, so we're working towards those as well. And that is pretty much March in a nutshell. That's our budget for March. So the next thing that I will be doing is working out what I need to pull out in cash, adding that up, and then withdrawing that cash from the ATM so I can fill our cash envelopes. There's just a couple of things that I still need to go and do. Like I said, all of those blue highlighted amounts are already automatically done. I need to pull the green ones out as cash, and there's a few ones down the bottom that I just need to go and manually do myself. Otherwise, our budget is pretty much taking care of itself. So let's go ahead, let's go and pull that cash out and fill the cash envelopes. Okay, so this is my cash envelope wallet. This is just a planner that I picked up from Kmart, and I made the envelopes myself. I do have a video on how I made the cash envelopes, which I can link below if you would like to see how I made the cash envelopes myself. But this is just a planner from Kmart that I picked up for about $10 and some homemade cash envelopes, and they've held up pretty well so far, so I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so hopefully that is in the middle, guys, and you can see that. What I have done now that we've worked out in the budget what we're going to allocate to our cash envelopes, I sat down and worked out how much I need to withdraw from the ATM to be able to do that. And what I've done is basically a quick calculation on $50 and $20 notes so that I can work out how much I need to withdraw. So this time around I had to do 2 withdrawals from the ATM so I could get the right notes to be able to stuff our envelopes. But all in all, it is pretty straightforward. So let's move these out of the way and get to it. Okay, first up is our grocery budget allocation. I actually divide our monthly allocation into 2 parts, 2 fortnightly parts, and then that way I feel like I can manage our monthly budget a little bit better. So we're going to allocate $350 to each envelope, or $700 in total for our month for our grocery budget. Next up is our splash cash. This is our personal spending money that we can just go and spend on whatever we want. It doesn't cover things like coffees, alcohol, and eating out. We have separate cash envelopes for those. These are just for our personal spending money. Basically, it's just money that Shan or I can go and spend on whatever we want. We both have an allocation of $50. Shan's $50 will go into his wallet. Mine will go into my splash cash envelope. The other envelope that I have is the personal care envelope, which I call the hair envelope. It covers things like hair appointments, haircuts, makeup, any of those sorts of personal care items. Our budget meeting date night envelope this month is only going to get $20. Normally I put $70 in there, and that's enough for Shan and I to go out, grab a meal and maybe a couple of drinks. This month we have decided that we are actually going to leave $20 in the budget meeting date night envelope, which means we can go out for coffee and a cake when we sit down to talk about our budget. But we're going to use the $50 and we're actually going to put that in the family fun envelope so we have a little bit more money while we go down the Great Ocean Road. In our latte envelope this month, we are going to put $70. So our latte envelope covers things like coffees when we're out and about. It also houses money for drinks or snacks if we're out and about. It's a bit of a mixed envelope. It has eating out, coffees, and also the kids' money date money goes into this one. So we like to take each of our kids out one-on-one once a month to sit down and talk with them about their money goals. We have 2 teenage boys who've both started working part-time, plus we have a little girl who is 8 and is doing jobs and duties around the house to earn some pocket money. So we're using the Barefoot Investor Jam Jar system with her, which is working really well. The boys are a little bit older and have their own bank accounts and super accounts which they need to manage. They're also working towards saving up for things like cars and all of those sorts of things. So we like to sit down with the kids once a month and check in with them, have a chat, see how they're going with their goals, and if there is anything that we can help them with to manage their money the right way. So in our latte envelope, we have $20 for coffees, we have $20 for drinks and eating out on the go, and we have $30 for the kids' money dates. One envelope that we have decided we are actually going to add a little bit more to this month is actually our alcohol fund. We're actually going to put $80 in there this month, which is higher than what we normally do. But like I said, we are going on a bit of a trip. So this is one of the cash envelopes that I will be taking with me. The other ones I will just leave at home because I don't need them and I won't be tempted to spend out of them if I don't have them. But we will take our alcohol envelope with us, so we have a little bit of extra money to get a few drinks while we're out and about. Our big envelope for this month is our family fun envelope. I am adding another $300 to that. We already have $200 saved in there from previous months, and this will bring the total up to $500 for us for our trip down the Great Ocean Road. We will be camping and doing sightseeing and things like that, so accommodation shouldn't be too expensive. We will need to pay for fuel and a little bit of accommodation and a couple of sightseeing activities, but for the most part we're just going to enjoy the view. We are going to go and check out the Otways, do a little bit of four-wheel driving, some beach camping and have some fun. So we have $500 now put aside in our family fun envelope. This is one of the envelopes that I will be taking with us when we go on our trip. The other ones will be staying at home so that we're not tempted to spend too much out of those envelopes, and also don't have to worry about us carrying a bunch of cash around with us. And last but not least is $50 that I'm saving in cash that I am putting away for our tattoo fund. So I will be tucking this $50 away nice and safely. This is not going to go in with the other envelopes. It's going to go into my little secret hidey hole, which I'm not going to tell you guys where it is. So there you have it. They are our cash envelopes for March. So there you have it. That is our budget and our cash envelopes for March 2020. If you found this video useful, if you enjoyed having a little sneak peek into our family finances and what's happening at our place in March, if you could give this video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate that. And don't forget to let me know in the comments what you would like me to do my next video on. What budgeting tips and frugal living hacks can I help you with so you can budget better, demolish your debt, skyrocket your savings, and still have heaps of frugal fun at your place along the way. And don't forget, if you are all about that budget life too, then we should totally hang out. Why don't you come over and find me on Instagram or Facebook? You can catch me at Nikki BL, and I would love to get to know you a little bit better. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of my new videos. I do have weekly content coming out, and I love hearing from you guys and hearing what is helping you guys and what you'd like me to do my next videos on. So let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next week.